guys, it's Nicky and Ron, and we're filming the Ask Ron once again on location, but it happens to be in our hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. Are you ready, Ron?
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Question number 1 is from Peter in South Carolina.
Hey, Peter.
Peter asks, when exactly is the deed transferred to property when I put it under contract to tie up a deal to sell to the end buyer?
It transfers when you go to a closing and the attorney prepares the deed, and the attorney will record it for you. Sometimes you don't go to closing till after you find the buyer. Sometimes you go to closing immediately because you want to close on it to protect the deal. Deed transfers when the seller hands it to you or your attorney, but then it is going to get recorded shortly thereafter.
All right, now Peter has another question. Where can I find private money for short term, like a double closing for 1 week?
Well, that's a whole seminar right there, Peter. And in fact, we have a series of tapes on that. You want to learn how to find private money. And that's just most of it is coming right out of your Rolodex, but that's too long of a question for me to answer on here. If you let people know that you're looking at what you're doing, you shouldn't have too much trouble finding it.
All right, the next question is from Laura in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Hey, Laura.
Laura has an involved question about a house deal. She says, hi, Ron. I have a question on how I should handle this deal. I have an older model 3-bedroom, 2-bath modular home in a lake community, steps from the water but not waterfront. The owners have been unable to sell it because it does not have a permanent foundation under it, and no buyer can get a conventional loan.
Okay.
It also needs complete upgrading. I feel the ARV could range around $150,000 because of location. The owners, who are siblings, are asking $24,000. The problem is that one of the siblings currently lives there and will not move until he gets a share of the sale to do so, and no owner financing. Should I take a risk and put a permanent foundation under it and sell it for $50,000 while allowing the owner to stay until it's sold, or should I find private money to buy him out and rehab for a bigger profit?
Well, that's a hard question to answer because you didn't give me the rest of the facts. You say the ARV is 150. Is that with or without the foundation? Honestly, I'd probably get them down on the purchase price somewhat, maybe to 20, fund it with private money, and I'd sell it with owner financing and forget about doing any of that stuff. That's what I would do with it.
Okay, the next question is from Nancy in South Carolina as well.
Wow. South Carolina is well represented today.
Nancy said she had 2 people call her last week. Both were listed with realtors but had already asked to be released from listing. I made sure they knew to get it in writing. First prospect, $136,600 loan, PITI 756. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 6 years old, 1,900 square feet, would rent for $1,200 after repairs, which is some painting and laminate in the living room and dining rooms, carpet cleaning upstairs, which I am guessing would be about $6,000 for the repairs.
All right.
They are military and are going to Japan for 4 years. They will help with repairs but want out and willing to give me the deed.
Okay.
That's deal number 1. Now she has a second deal.
Okay, but Nancy, you didn't tell me anything else.
Well,
what's the ARV?
She's actually stating both deals and asking you which one to do.
How about both of them?
Well, that's what she should do. But
Okay.
The second prospect is a divorced wife, got the house mortgage.
All right, I don't care about all of that. What's the numbers?
Okay, the mortgage is $101,000.
All right, what's the payment?
PITI is $997.
All right, what's the ARV?
$135,000 to $140,000,
Okay.
and it needs $10,000 repairs.
Get the deed on both of them, or sign an agreement to get the deed on both of them, and then put them on the market as is. You don't touch them, you don't spend a dime on them. Get whatever you can out of someone else and probably assign them the contract and be out of it. That's the easiest way to handle those deals.
There you go, Nancy. All right, the next question is from Tanisha in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She has a question on comps and numbers. She says, besides running comps, is there a formula to determine offer price, and how can you check against your own numbers?
Not on the pretty house business. There is no formula for determining offer price. It's going to be based on the terms. That's where your training comes in handy, Tanisha. Get my terms course. You can order it through us, and it literally takes you step by step on how to determine what to offer on the properties.
Okay, the next question is from Frederick in Richmond, Virginia. He says, I'm new to the wholesaling business. I found a few properties, but they all owe taxes and some are very high. How do I correctly wholesale these properties?
Well,
Does the buyer pay for it or do I?
You simply put them under contract with whatever's owed on them, and you make that clear to the buyer that they're going to give you X number of dollars and take over whatever's owed on them. You do not have to pay the taxes when you flip a deal. You can buy the property with taxes on it, you can sell it with taxes on it, as long as you disclose that the taxes are there. It's just part of their purchase price. And in fact, I'd rather have the taxes owed on it than have to come to closing with the cash. It does not affect your ability to sell the house.
All right, here's another question from John in Metairie, Louisiana. He says, I have someone in mind who I'd like to hire as my VA.
Right.
How and how much should I pay this VA, and how do I track or verify the work being done and that I am getting what I am paying?
Get a hold of Global and hire our VAs and quit doing all that hard work. You're going to hire that VA, you're going to fire that VA, you have absolutely no idea what you're trying to do, you're going to make a mess. Why don't you let people do what they do best, get out of the way and let them do it? Why wouldn't you use our VAs? They're going to do everything your VA will do, and we hire them, we fire them, we train them for you, and you will pay no more for ours than you will for all of yours. Remember, when you hire our VAs, you get VAs plural, not one VA. Each VA does something that they're good at. One VA is not going to be good at everything you need to get done.
All right, and the last and final question for this week's Ask Ron is from Ronald in Brooklyn, New York. He says, I bought the junket for $6,500 seller finance at $300 a month. Now, how do I make a 30% profit from it?
Well, gosh, I have no way to answer that question. You didn't tell me what it was worth. You didn't tell me what kind of condition it's in. Sounds to me like you only want to make a $2,000 or $3,000 profit from it. And frankly, I wouldn't even touch that deal. No way I'd do a deal for $2,000 or $3,000. None of my people do anything less than $10,000. And honestly, I work on them hard not to do deals for that only net 10 grand. So your answer is very simple. Sell it for more than you paid for it. So put it under contract and flip it out and let somebody else bring you. But don't settle for no 30% profit. If you're putting under contract for $6,500, you should make $10,000 the minimum on every single deal you do. It is just as easy. It sounds like you bought it right, but you didn't give me a clue what it's worth. So that's the best I can do on that one.
That concludes the questions for this week's Ask Ron.
See you next week.